What up, yo? And yeah, see, it comes off. So, hello, everyone out in the void. I'm Zach. This is the Shaken Fist, and today we're not laughing at this in the normal way that we normally would. Usually it used to be Sundays, and as minutes I like to, laugh at some videos. But I've decided that I'm going to slow down on reaction videos a little bit, trying to troll through all this trash, finding things to make fun of all the time. Do you know what? Fuck it, I can just make fun of the Bible. So once a month, I decided I'm going to start reading the Bible, and if I enjoy it, I might do it more. I might do it more. You never know. And I do plan on getting through all of it. I forget my crisis before. I always have crisis of faith that happens every few months because I'm a weak-willed man. you know, you look at you look at how your channel's doing. And you go, do you know what? Maybe it's going badly, and then you freak out a little bit. But thanks to like Amber and BS Lewis and others that reached out to me. So while that topic's breached, I'd also like to breach. Was it last week? I had on after on Tuesdays. I watch. I watch. I read. Me and Jimmy Tux TV watched through. Watched. I did it again. Read through Braxton Hunter's core rules for making people core facts for making people believe. And you should go watch that because it's fun. And we're not on the cosmological argument anymore, so that's cool. But hopefully, so at the end of the last episode, I ended up having someone on that I did not know had been doing some horrible shit. I thought he'd just been saying things, but foolish me. He had done much more serious things. So yes, I don't like the idea of platforming people that dox trans people, and I didn't know all this had happened. I found out afterwards. People like Joe from the Kentucky Atheist, and oh, my brain is being so dumb. Oh my god, I need to remember people. I'm going to look on Discord because. And Steph, I'm sorry, Steph, got in touch and said, "Hey, did you know that this person has done these things?" And I'm like, "No, I did not know they had done the really horrible things that they had done. I thought they just said stuff. You know what I mean? And to be honest, what right wing Christian hasn't said transphobic or fucking homophobic things or anything like that? So so it's like, oh, whatever. And it turned out he had done much more horrible things than that. So yeah, so sorry about that. That one, I won't have him on again. And if I have people like that on in future, you just tell me and I won't. Yeah, it's cool. And approached you before. Thank you very much, Pinwood. Yes, all the kind words from everyone have been very good. And do you know what? Even people like Mr. John Lovell giving out saying, "Do you know what? I do need more tap dancing women." Hello, Dave. How you doing? How's everyone? Yeah, come on, here we go. I plan on getting through the first 5 chapters of Genesis today, so that's cool. I hope you're all looking forward to me reading the Bible. I have lots of interesting things to say that no doubt some of you have probably heard before, but I'm going to do the Johnny YouTube thing of being an atheist and reading through the Bible, because atheists never read the Bible, right? So I think actually the more of us that read the Bible together, no matter how many Bible reading shows from atheists there are, the better it is, right? If they can all get together in F55, do you know what, John? Thank you for stopping by. You go get your beers. So what was I saying? The more of us that do it, if they can all congregate together and do all these Bible study things and everything, then so should we. And I have lots of interesting things to say about various bits of the Bible and not very much about others. I mean, I'll know more by the time I do it. So hopefully there's that. Yeah. Anything else? I don't know. Oh yeah, there's I might chill out on videos soon a little bit. I might do a little bit more streaming. Mr. Beverly said I should do the opposite, but I don't know. I like streaming a little bit. I don't want to scale it back too much. I just want to I'm gonna finish this Braxton video isn't gonna be out Wednesday because between my dog's health, because my dog ripped off her thumbnail, so I've been fucking doing shit for her and trying to fucking make sure that she's not licking the bandage off every 15 seconds. and me having a great cigar. I've done no work, so that'll be out after that. I don't know. I want to start doing. I don't want to do. I think some of my dissatisfaction with YouTube is doing reaction videos all the time. So I think I'm going to limit that to streams. I don't know. I have no idea. I might do more ranty stuff. I might try and get better with debating. I haven't decided yet. I want to do more comedy shit, to be honest. I want to make fun of stuff a bit more. But I need to. That requires time to write, where I'm not sitting down editing. So there's all that. Brazilian coffee. I'm reading the Bible, and I have a lot of shit to say. And I did a test run of this back in September, and like I forgot a bunch of shit because I got a little too high, man. So I'm going stone cold sober this time, so I can at least remember. Okay, you're going now. I bet you'll still be talking. You're damn right. I'll still be talking when I get back. I'll be talking and reading too, because I think my talking bit is done now. I don't think I have anything else to say. I plan on resurrecting Thingy maybe in the next week or two as well. What's it called? Fucking oh my Jesus Christ! Bottom of the barrel, because I had a lot of fun doing that. There was a lot of fun. I want to have different people on every time, but people. I'll have Dave on again. Of course, I will. Dave's great. It's almost 40 minutes to 5. Everyone, okay, cool. Oh. I'm a dumb boy. I'm a slow boy. I've been reading and listening to Bible literature and stuff all day and freaking out at the same time. So that's it. It's been fun. It's a fun life being the shaken fist. It's always the best. It's always the best everywhere. So, hey. Yeah. So I figured out how to make this a bit better. So I might do this tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to words. I'll be able to. I've got this full screen. That's a problem. Oh, that's why. Yeah, because that's part of that. Oh, you thought I might have figured all this out before I started? I thought I had, because I'm a consummate professional. So we're going to start Genesis 1. I am going to read the new revised standard edition, updated, new standard, the new revised standard version, updated edition, because that's what the scholars read, or so I've been told by several scholars. Apparently, it's not the most accurate, so you'll have to deal. But it gets better gists and fucks over less stuff, apparently. So, hey, Robin, how you doing? What up, yo? And oh, the dog is knocking everything over. Just a sec, I gotta let the dog out. Stream's been on for 12 minutes. 12 minutes, I already gotta do the dog. Not that way, you dirty man. I'm just gonna open the door for you, good girls. There's the door. Okay. These are good girls. Hey. Oh, there we go. The door's open. You want a fuss? Hey. It's alright, you can't lick that. I know, it hurts, doesn't it? Come here. Oh, come on. Say hello to everyone. Ah! Look, it's a pupper. It's a pupper the camera doesn't kind of want to see. See, she's got a little hurt paw. I know you can't really see her because the camera is deciding the dog is not a thing. You're not real, Pippin. You're not real. You're not a real doggies. The camera says you don't exist, girl. Right, come on. Okay. There we go. Where's Tux? Tux does reads book. Is reading the Braxton Hunter thing with me. This is me on my own. Am I going to the Ark? I am far too poor to go to the Ark in July. Far too poor. I live all the way in the UK, and I haven't been paid since 2020 because immigration sucks. And my mother. So that's cool. Oh, I guess he was. Oh, never mind. Yeah. Right. So let's get ready. So I'm gonna try and keep track of the false facts, contradictions, and the true facts. I don't know how well this is gonna go because I've got to edit things on the fly, and I think it'll work. So hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna stop keeping track and whatever. Yeah. And I realized halfway. I realized about halfway through that I'm like brain dead. Right. Woo! I need it, yo. I need it. Everyone's their own worst enemy, I suppose. There's always that. I wish I could be there, to be honest, but it's so very expensive. Also, I like the idea of not being in a place where Trump is in charge. To be frank. uh, yeah. So right. So the thing is, how am I gonna? You'd think I'd have a better idea of when I cover it. Starting this shit's always the worst, right? So, I suppose I can get into the doc. I suppose I'll just make a quick aside about the documentary hypothesis about the Pentateuch because I'm going to be. I went back and forth a lot. I couldn't figure out whether I should start at Genesis or I should start at Jesus, and I decided that I should start at Genesis because it is easier and more helpful to debunk the Hebrew faith than it is the Christian faith. Because the Hebrew faith, if I debunk the Hebrews, then I debunk the Jews, I debunk the Christians, and I debunk the Muslims. So that's cool. Now, it's a thing that came about because of textual criticism before we get into it. I'm just going to briefly mention the documentary hypothesis because it's a thing I'm not really going to mention a lot of, to be honest, because I cannot read Hebrew. You crash at my place. That is the least expensive part. The plane is the most expensive. The most expensive part. He might be, but the problem is the country is suffering. But yeah, no, it is, and that's why I find it the most useful. And there's much more stuff it's out there that makes it easier to debunk. The New Testament. There's a lot more corroborating facts. But the thing is actually, if you dig enough, and yes, I know Dr. Josh is doing a course on Hebrew, but I am far too poor to do that. It's like $200, and I ain't got a pot to piss in. I got my missus's money to live on, and that ain't much because she's only a carer. Immigration fucked me hard because I don't even want to get into that. I'm talking about the Bible. I wish I could read ancient Hebrew, and if I had enough money, I would. To help me get to 500 subs, and if you like the video, I should have said this before. Like the thing, click the like button, comment when the stream's done, put it in the algorithm any way as possible. Because yeah. So, and just quickly talk about the documentary hypothesis. So there's a guy called Wellhausen from the middle to late 1800s who basically kind of figured out through textual criticism that actually the Pentateuch is really made up of 4 different sources. There's the Yahwist source, which is the J source. It's J because it's German instead of Y. And they think that it was written around the year 10,000 BC. They don't, it's not 100% sure. And it's called the Yahwist source because it always uses the term Yahweh. Unlike the E source, which isn't part of either bit that we're talking about. Any of the bits we're talking about because it's later, I think, where it's Elohim. No, we're going to talk about. No, that is the difference. I'm stupid. The priestly source is the one we won't be mentioning, I think. Like I said, I'm not good with this because there's priestly source that's about around the time the Babylonian exile, and there's also the Elohist source where it says Elohim or like El or whatever, and like. I know, and then there's the D source, which is Deuteronomy, just on its own. So it doesn't matter except for Deuteronomy. But it is interesting to note that how the names change and stuff like that. When they're written, how like the Elohist source and Elohim, being the pantheon god of El, comes from the northern, Israel, because northern kingdom was Israel and the southern kingdom was Judah, right? And then, the other one is the southern one, and that's, it's very interesting, the differences. And if I could read Hebrew, I would talk about it so much more because I find it very fascinating. I know there's downsides to it. Not everything's 100% because we can see some of it is much older than all of it and whatever. But so I just thought I'd get that out of the way. And I've been looking at notes, so I've not been able to see anything for a moment. I think on YouTube it's free. Well, I didn't know he was doing. I didn't know there was one on YouTube, so I'll look for that one. What up, Tilton Windmill? How you doing? So, Pippin, you got to stop licking, girl. So, what we're going to take first, I'm hopefully going to get through 5 chapters and get through all the stories of Adam and Eve and Cain and stuff like that. So, let's just start reading, shall we? Because there's comparisons I can make. I'll do them. I think I'll do the comparisons to Mesopotamian stuff afterwards, and I'll just talk about the silly stuff right now. Because the Mesopotamian stuff, I've got a lot of the text, and if people are interested, I can read through them as well. I wouldn't mind because some of them are quite good, and there's probably some that you've never heard of. If you look into it at all, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much any of you look into Sumerian things. Me, far too much. Anyway, and I can't read Sumerian either. I need to learn old languages. I need to have money to be a scholar. That's what I should be. I need to be a scholar. So, 6 days of creation and the Sabbath. When God began to create the heavens and the earth was in complete chaos, and darkness covered the face of the deep, whilst a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and morning, and there was first day. So actually, I'm going to talk about some of the Sumerian stuff straight away because it's basically it's not Sumerian. It's not Sumerian. That's the second one. I need to get better with this. So chapter 1 is Babylonian. It nicks stuff off the Enuma Elish, if I am not wrong, because it is is part of the Babylonian creation myth. And there's so, but like the thing I always hate is when people go, "Hey, the Bible stories didn't nick off all these other things, right? Because they're not exactly the same, are they?" And it's like, so what, right? You ever seen a B movie? And I mean like a B movie, like a bad B movie. You know when they're just ripping off shit? They brought out Pacific Rim and they brought out Atlantic Rim, right? Because it's in the Atlantic Ocean and it's robots fighting monsters from the ocean. It's completely different, right? Because it says Atlantic and not Pacific, and the stories are different, but it's totally the same fucking thing. That's the point, right? There's so much of these old Semitic myths that basically all nicked off each other because they were Semitic people that ranged from the people in the Sargon of Akkad to the Hyksos to, Hebrews nowadays. Like, so these people were basically writing. So the chapter 1 of Genesis was basically written sometime around the Babylonian exile, right? So we can see how much of this is actually trying to negate Babylonian gods and trying to just put down all these things, and how it's like, no, this is ours. So even like the verse 1 of Genesis mirrors the start of the Enuma Elish, where it's like, better because the beginning of Genesis is better translated when in the beginning, because we don't have a lot of the same prepositions and stuff that the Hebrews had. So you got when in the beginning. And then what is it in the New English? It's like when in the beginning on high, because they got all the high places. Not at all like the high places. Like the early Semitic people. So we have what we have here. And this is the fun bit: is there's so much in these first few chapters. You know what I mean? And there's so much to talk about in the first few chapters. It's fucking. I gotta make this smallest so I can see the chat, because that's what Johnny YouTube is doing, right? Just a sec, sorry. My notes. So it says I need another screen. I need so many things. Right. So they see swept over the waters. Of course, the waters being outside the universe, because you know the sky is blue and the water is blue. So, but the thing is in the hello, nerdy. Need a hero. Well, I have the Bible, and there's plenty of heroes in this. Space water. I could do it. I don't know. I like space. Yeah. Oh yeah. So basically, it's saying that God's hovering over the formless void of the waters, right? But the thing is because when you look at the Enuma Elish, the Enuma Elish is about the start is a part of the Enuma Elish is Babylonian creation myth that starts with the god Abzu of fresh water, like the high god Abzu of fresh water. Like Abzu is like been around since before Sumerian times. You got the thing of the well of Abzu, the temple of Abzu underneath. Is it I think it's maybe it's Sumer. And you got bigger and bigger and shit. And then you got Tiamat, the goddess, the high goddess of like salt water, right? And in the Numa Elish, they like mix their waters together to stop the chaos of the waters, right? To the period. Whereas this is saying actually, the Babylonians and their gods have created chaos. Our God is here to separate the waters from the waters and separate that chaos and make it in more, an ordered thing, right? So then he's at once saying, right, actually, your story's wrong. And also, our God is stronger than your God. Your gods put these things together and he ripped them apart. You know what I mean? So then, where are we? That's the wrong thing. The Bible is mostly about their anti-heroes. I would say some of them are just outright villains, to be honest. Like just outright villains, because like you got what like Jacob steals the entire inheritance from Esau in the most duplicitous way, and they're like, oh my god, Jacob is now Israel because he wrestled with God. He's so good. David kills that guy because he made his wife cheat on it. Like so much of the Bible is just pure evil, and like, well, it's the best people. I suppose also we need to remember that we're talking about people from like 2,000-3,000 plus years ago, so things were different. So where were we? Where were we? And yeah, I go. And the God said, "Let there be a dome in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." So God made the dome and separated the waters that were under the dome from the waters that were above the dome, and it was so. And God called the dome sky, and there was evening and there was morning the second day. You notice how he's was it so sky dome. Notice how none of this is being called good. Oh no, so God saw the light and saw the light was good, and darkness isn't good. But then he made the dome and he separated the waters from the dome, and it was so, and it's not good. You see, if I could be bothered, there's actually a grammatical pattern of like, how many things are created on each day? Were they good? Do they create things themselves, or did they create them? And you can see that actually there's an actual because like there's a lot of Hebrew that like the biblical thing of the guy went down the road, he traveled the road, like because you got to say it again in a different way, and it's kind of doing that. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Humans are special. Do you know what I mean? Is it just me, or the Old Testament, New Testament even more about tribal? Just to, I think that's definitely true, kind of about the Old Testament. I think the New Testament is a lot of I don't know. It's a lot of reshaping. It's why it's so small. But definitely in the Old Testament, I plan on pointing how I think all of this, and a lot of scholars would agree on a lot of the points, that a lot of the Old Testament is specifically trying to make you feel very specific things about very specific places and very specific people. And if you pay attention and care to like, I don't mean to me, I meant to like the Bible and history, and like look into it enough, or maybe listen to me and trust me, and maybe some of the books that I tell you to read, you might see actually that these things come with they come from a certain time. A lot of these things, like later on, we'll talk about various countries and kingdoms that were around the time of Moses or Abraham or whatever, when really they didn't start existing till around the 7th century or 8th century BCE. But we'll get to them. So on the second day, God, he separates the waters. So he separated Tiamat and Abzu, right? And so he separated them. So if we also look back at the Enuma Elish, basically after Marduk is born, right? Marduk's one of the many gods, and he's the head of Babylon. I think he's the god of the moon, but I might be wrong there. I think I am wrong. I can't remember what he's the god of. Unless it's just Babylon, like the city. But my point overall is so. What he does is he takes is it 7 winds and he blows up, and I don't mean like a bomb, like a balloon. He does it like a balloon. He blows up Tiamat. Definitely a dick god. He's obsessed with dicks. He definitely is, and we'll get into some of that sooner than you would think, actually. I mean, I'm probably going to be missing stuff from other books I meant to look up today. Oh, well. But my point was that, so he blows up Tiamat like a balloon, and then he separates Tiamat in half. And he uses the top half, and that becomes the sky. And he separates the bottom half, which becomes the land, which is very much like what Yahweh is doing here. Yahweh seems to is going down. I'm going to separate these waters from these waters. And you're all going to live in this state. It's the same thing, except it's trying to point out you only need one God, right? I think in some ways, I think in some very real ways, I kind of think, and I don't mind about pushback on this. I kind of think that early Hebrews was some of like the earliest atheistic thinkers. Yes, they still believed in a God, but they were not afraid to go, oh, that God of the moon ain't real, that God of the sun ain't real, that God of that temple ain't real, your family God ain't real. All these fucking gods are bunk, sir. There's none of them. Yes, it's a bit of a stretch, but these people would basically go around to everyone and say, all you gods are stupid, now leave me alone. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, that was another thing. So apparently, the Hebrew for deep also sounds like the Hebrew for Tiamat. So that's cool. And like, little nugget of, these things are definitely copied from each other thing there. And God said, let the waters under the sky be gathered into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters were gathered together he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the earth put forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees of every kind on earth that bear fruit with the seed in it. And it was so. And the earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed of every kind of trees, and every kind of bearing fruit with seed in it. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and the morning the third day. See? So, of course, I forgot to mention, you see, the evening comes before the day because the light came after the darkness. And, so that's why the Jews do it that way. But you see here, God doesn't make the trees. He doesn't make the grass. God doesn't make the berries. He doesn't make the bananas, the cherries. He doesn't make it. God doesn't create anything on the third day. Let the earth put forth vegetation. The earth brought forth vegetation. God didn't do it. The earth did. Because it's almost like he wasn't that much of an all-powerful God back in the day. It's almost like these people thought that God was like a God of a people, resided in one place with them in a tabernacle, maybe, or like a holiest of holies type place. But hey, you know what I mean? So it's just fun to see that actually God didn't create everything. God isn't the all-knowing, benevolent creator God that one would make out to say, because the Bible says it's so. But of course we know that if it doesn't agree with what Christians want, then the Bible doesn't matter. My favorite of the 80s, Alf, with the most depressing end ever. Well, that's the wrong. I pressed the wrong thing. I wonder if you know what. You know what I wonder too. I wonder if God noticed the size difference between the mustard and the orchard seeds when he made. Or did he look at them and go, "I will make such a parable about one of this about these one of these days." Now, of course, you might have noticed that I haven't actually been putting down any false facts yet, because indeed, one would say that actually the writers of this part of the Bible weren't trying to display fact. And this would actually be some kind of religious polemic against one's oppressors, and not actually saying the way that things came into existence, just trying to take others and rectify it for their own. Now, if you want to say that that is also going to be, you know, the false facts, then I could be argued into that position. Also, I'm not putting down contradictions until the second part of the contradiction happens. So there you go. That way, I don't mark it down twice. Yeah. So we'll get some contradictions on the second one. So that's fun, right? Uh, so where was I? No, I've not. I'm just about to read that bit. I'm just about to read that bit. But the thing is, right, is because they didn't actually know that that's where the light came from. I think that's what it is, because it's more of a polemic against Babylonian gods. So the next bit is where are we? And God said, let there be lights in the dome of the sky to separate the day from the night." And even though we've had a couple days and nights, "and let them be signs and signs and for seasons and for days and for years." Now, I think this is a really interesting point that I do think I can actually put under false facts, because this is part of the point of myths is to explain things, and I don't just mean myth as in, oh my god, it's fake, but these people were trying to prove a point with stories, and I do think that this is actually where it starts to. I don't know. Should I put the other ones in then? Or should I just kind of, I don't know. What should I do? What should I do with the false facts for creation? Is it just one for every day? Is it one for every piece of creation? Because then it'd be 112 so far. So 4, because I'm stupid. I just like, yeah, I'm going from the thing. So yeah, let me know. Because that though, sorry, that's the reason it's so wrong, because they're trying to tell you through stories what these things are for, because that's what they use them for. Presupposing, of course, what humans do, that everything was made for them. Like, I always thought the best example of this was, people, you walk through a forest and you're really tired, and then you see a fallen tree or stone, and you go, oh, there's a seat there for me. The seat's been put there for me. When really, it's just a fucking stone that's rolled up or whatever. Uh, this verse says he made astrology and horoscopes. A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Because we forget that early Hebrews, a lot of people like that, they did think that magic existed. They thought that other people could do magic. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there is a good chance that that could be. I don't think, because it's also about, like, these people, when they saw constellations, they either saw them as directions, or they saw them as ancient mythic figures. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And like, I don't remember exactly what the Babylonians thought about them, but I feel like I did know at one point, because I feel like I've brought this up before and then gone, I looked that up, but I'm not doing that today. And also, was it because of the concept? Maybe I don't think it was the Bible that made us think the world was flat. I think people thought the world was flat already. I mean, it was the Greeks that figured out the world was round, and a lot of people believed it after that. But I think modern day flat earthers, if I'm not incorrect, came from 4chan. If I remember correctly, I remember 4chan really hitting hard this whole fucking flat earth thing about 10, 15 years ago. And I'm pretty sure the current flat earth thing is all from 4chan, if I remember correctly. I could be 100% wrong, but I seem to remember that being the case. I seem to remember 4chan making a thing of it, and then everybody started going, I guess it is. I very much agree. I'm not. I don't mind being nice to them, but nice has a limit. And these people, yes, I think, but I think the difference, Mr. Swift, is I think we need to make a difference between the more liberal ones and the more conservative ones. And I don't just mean left and right. I mean like the liberal ones that are more like, do you know what? Maybe we shouldn't rule over everyone's lives, and we could probably be nicer to them. But they do lift up the tide of all the knobhead conservative ones. So, yeah, at the end, but I see. The problem is I very much think that we do need to stigmatize them, right? But the problem is that because Jesus says, treat others as you want to be treated, they like to stigmatize us, and I have no problem doing it back if they did it first. Reciprocity is a strong. The reciprocity is strong in me, but um, the problem is humanity reacts badly to that. So if you make fun of them too much, they go, oh, and they just believe their shit more because you made fun of them too much. And I think there's a. I don't often like the middle ground. I'm very much a outer edge type person on a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? Uh, but I think that. See, I don't think there'd be that much of a debate though. I don't. I think the problem is there needs to be a middle ground, and I am not the middle ground, and I don't think Niddy is the middle ground either. I think Hitchens is a nice middle ground of snack, fuck you, and like being nice and gregarious and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And also, yes, the entire idea didn't come from 4chan and the four columns and stuff. Yes, but the resurgence is entirely 4chan and they didn't make it religious. So stupidity as concrete content. Yeah, the only problem is stupidity has been bred into us and has been natured into us. The degradation of the education system through not wanting to pay things because I don't have any money and I don't want to pay taxes. I don't. This isn't the shit I wanted to go on about, but this is what the chat's talking about. And I sometimes join in. So we've fucked the education system. We've openly ostracized intelligent people for decades upon decades, going, no, it's okay to make fun of them. You can bully them, you can do all these things. Because smart people are elitists, and you shouldn't like elitist people because they know things and they're gonna make you feel bad, so don't like them. Humanity's fucked, and humanity doesn't want to listen to things. So I like to go down the fuck 'em all the fuck 'em all route. But I like the fact that there's nice people out there that are willing to treat them with more respect than me. It's a nice, natural, good cop, bad cop thing. I don't that debate stupidity, nature, or nurture. Oh dear, I'd come down on both. Our brains are getting smoother. But back to the Bible. Yeah, you can't trust churches. You can trust individuals. That's the problem. Oh yeah, yeah. But they've been doing. They've been right wing has been siphoning education money away from education everywhere they possibly can. Because one, you've got right wing people that just don't want to pay money to stuff because it's my money, and then you've got the right wing people that are religious and don't want to pay for things that are like going to fuck up any religion in any way. And having a basic education really fucks up religion. But hey, It's one of the things I never get about like atheist right wingers. It's like, why the fuck? Why are you right wing, bro? They're like, I get my not liking liberals and shit like that, but come on, like they want all the religious things. It's like, I don't believe in God, but I want to live by His rules, and I want the people that follow Him to control me. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the Bible before I meander far too much and annoy everyone, because that is my one to do. So that's the thing. I hate being on the left because fucking most left wingers, they can't work together, and they don't. And left wing politicians are dick. Never get anything done. So screwed. But I need to talk about the Bible. This is the Bible talk. And then God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures. Let the birds fly above the earth across the dome of the sky." So God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves of every kind, with which the waters swarm, and every winged bird of every kind. And God saw it was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening and there was morning the fifth day. So before I was talking about, so it seems a bit weird that the birds come from the water, because it's different wording from Hebrew, and it's trying to mimic the two things were made this day thing from line one. Because line one matches line four in a lot of respect. Line two matches line five. Line three matches line six, and then seven is the end, right? So it has to create two, and again, I'm gonna go back to Sumerian stuff here. Because what's it called? Because in Sumerian stuff we have a thing called where is it? It's on my thing. In Sumerian old literature, they have like 7 discussions, something like that are like where are we? Yeah. So we have stuff like this. The debate between the fish and the bird. And see, so there was a lot of debates in old Sumerian. So you got like the fish and the bird. There's like copper and brass or something like that, and shepherd and the farmer and all these different things, and it's about the contrast of the different forms of life. And I find this interesting, just because it's like, it's there's so many things taken from Mesopotamia in the first large part of Genesis. It's insane. It's like the next bit. So the next bit is oh my god, that's the wrong thing. Oh my god, I keep on clicking on the wrong things. I need to put this back on here. Share this tab instead. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures of every kind, cattle and creeping things and wild animals of the earth of every kind." And it was so. God made the wild animals of the earth of every kind, and the cattle of every kind that creeps upon the ground of every kind. And God said that it was good. So God makes all the animals. He doesn't make the fish and the birds, but He makes everything else. And God saw that it was good. At least He sees that this was good too. And then God said, "Let us make humans in our image, in accordance with our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and the cattle of all the wild animals of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." So God created humans in His image. In the image of God He created them. Male and female He created them. So we'll notice here that He says, God says "our," because He is talking, of course, to multiple gods, because, of course, God wasn't the only God at the time. Lots of people followed his wife Asherah. There was, we have lots of evidence of different forms of like God worship amongst the Hebrews. They were all related. You can even see it in it. "I used to be called El," which is the head of the Canaanite pantheon. "I am now actually Yahweh. Don't worry about it." And of course, we're saying in our image, so we're being made in the likeness. not just in the likeness of God. Image also can mean something else. So back in the day, and we see it now actually, you go into a church and you see a big thing of Jesus Christ up there on the cross and pain and suffering. Because when I say, look at that man is my most holy savior and top guy on high and best friend forever, right? What I then see, what I would like to see is him in really large amounts of pain, suffering for us all. I'd really like to see that. That's what I really like to see. Uh, but uh, what, I lost my train of thought. I'm such an idiot. What was I just saying? My fucking brain. I smoked too much green, man. Um, Oh yes, by the different gods. Yeah, the hours. Yeah. So then we're also in our image. So then, yes, I was talking about images. Yes. So you go back, you look at the back of a church, you always see, you got a nice big thing of Jesus Christ there. He's in suffering and he's in pain, and you go, oh look, it's our Jesus, and you all pray to it because it is your representation of praying to God itself, right? Because in some fashion, you praying to the fucking you praying to this statue is you praying to the god because he is manifest in it whilst you are doing it, and that's why the Catholics eat the shitty bread and they drink the wine or whatever, right? um so what it's actually saying is you don't need this, right? You don't need, like, when Jesus is saying, you don't be like the heathens, and you don't need to stand on the street corners and preach and stuff. God here is saying you don't need some fucking place to worship all this shit. Worship each other because you are my image, right? So not only are you made like me, right? Because one of the other things that all these the statues of gods used to have is they had big fuck off horns, like bull horns, auric horns to be specific, to show that they were God, right? And God is saying here that none of that's true. You don't need horns to be a god. That's stupid, right? What he's saying is you all look like me. I have made you. You are all me. Respect them as each other as you would me. And considering people don't respect him very well, that went amazingly. And also we see here that he creates male and female at the same time. So we like at the same time, right? So let's go through it. I'm going to make I should have done this before, right? But I'm just going to make a quick list, a quick list of what gets made, right? So we got what? We got day one. uh, so day one, he creates light. And then day two, I mean, you could say he technically creates days, but it doesn't actually say that he creates day. It says that he called the light day and the darkness night, but he gave them names, which gives them purpose, because back in the day when the name was the purpose, right? Show us what? And what do you want me to show you? I don't know what you mean. I don't have it's just a little thing here that I'm writing on. It's not So then the second day. The part being created at the same time. Fair enough. I think they're called hermaphrodites. I don't know. Yeah. So then on the second day he creates the dome, right, and then names the sky and the land. It doesn't actually create them. But and then the third day he creates land and the sea. He creates the land and the sea on the third day. Land and sea. And then what's the fourth day is the fish and the birds. Or is it plants? What up, yo? I'm just being confused with too many things here. It's kind of this. I know. Oh no. So then, yeah. So then it's mm, uh, so on the fourth day he makes the moon, sun, and star. So celestial bodies. And then the birds and the fish, and then animals, and then humans. So that's cool, right? So that's the. I just need to make this later. Right. So blah 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 blah. And then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every other living thing that over a thing." It's the most southern thing I've ever fucking said. Fucking hell, thing. What a thing! Not a thing. All right. Anyway, and every other living thing that moves over upon the earth. Uh, And God said, "See, I have given you every plant yielding its seed that is upon the face of the earth, and every tree with its seed and fruit in it you shall have for food." Thus, everybody is supposed to be vegetarian. And to every beast of the earth, and every bird of the air, and everything that creeps on the earth, and everything that is given the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. So everything needs to eat vegetarian. It's fun that. Uh, Sorry, Mr. Smith. I've been enjoying what you say. I can't comment on everything you're saying, but Christians under 30s annoy me as well. Do you know what gets me? It's not actually. That's not the bit I wanted to mention. Christians under 30s annoy me. You know what? It's not. You know what doesn't annoy me? Say, do you know what's weird? Do you know what I find weird? Being an atheist for so long, and find just nowadays you hear all these people going, I just came out as an atheist. Like, damn, I'm so old. I've been an atheist for like 5 years. I'm like, oh, I'm so old. I'm not even 40. If you hear a noise in a few minutes, that's going to be my coffee maker making coffee. Right. No, that's the wrong thing. Yeah, but we got lab grown babies. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Lab grown babies are like, uh, the freshly sourced from the freshest stem cells, just like any lab grown meat. we got test tube babies abound. So don't feel like you're being unethical. It's fine. God changes all that after the flood. Don't worry about it. Right. So where was I? And God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. You see, it's very good this time because he's looking at the totality of everything. And there was the evening and the morning. There was the sixth day. Oh, I've heard lab rat babies. I'm not. I'm not even. I'm not even going to go there. That It sounds like some twisted version of Redwall. It's like some fantasy thing where instead of humans, it's all like mice, stoats, and badgers and such. Uh, but I like my wild grown baby. They taste better, and I like that gamey flavor. Do you know what? Yeah, but we're talking about the future. See, it's making coffee. We're talking about the future now, my friend. And in the future, we have lab grown babies, so people don't get angry when we eat them. Because the vegans are right. We shouldn't be eating the animals. But They are so very tasty. So lab-grown babies all the way. um, that's the breath of life. Was there anything I wanted to say about that? I don't think so. No, that's all stuff for chapter 2. So, right. So we're going to go on to chapter 2 now. So the thing is, right, this is still part of the original creation story because these chapters and such were made for much later and are not actually part of the original text. So we get the fun of it fucking up right now. So that's cool. So Genesis 2. And I'll just finish this off and then, thus the heavens and the earth were finished and all their multitude. On the 6th day, God finished the work he had done, and then he rested on the 7th day from all the work he had done. So God blessed the 7th day and hallowed it because on it God rested from all the work he had done in creation. These are the generations of heaven and earth. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. So that's cool, right? You know, uh, yeah. So I keep on getting distracted by the chat because I'm a bad streamer. So this is saying, and I like how this comes during the. So this was written during the Babylonian exile. So do you not like how it completely ignores uh, how in Exodus it says that the Sabbath is because that's when God freed them, or did he just happen to do it on the same day and no one thought to mention the other one? You know what I mean? It's cool, right? So, do I have anything else that I needed? Hello, I'm John. You back from the store? Did you enjoy buying beer? Um, I've got so many things to say about Genesis 2. Oh, fuck it. We're on about. So, just before. So many interesting things about chapter 2. I have less interesting things to say about chapter 3. But actually, chapter 2 and 3 are really interesting. 4 is not so much. And then 5 is just names, if I remember correctly. But I shall be reading through the genealogies. Don't you worry about that. So now we're going to actually start on the second creation account because every good holy book needs two differing creation accounts, right? You need, when you talk about your God being, like the most powerful God on high, and this whole thing being like, what's it called? This whole thing being like the undiluted, uninspired, 100% true word of God, then I mean, you're a human being. You should feel a little shame for being an omnivore. Because, like, it's not like we're going out in the woods with a stone bow and a stone arrow or whatever and hunting them, right? We are keeping a lot of animals in horrendous conditions so we can have shit processed food. I think it's more that is the bad thing. It's cool eating meat, but really, the way we make it is terrible because we need to make so much of it. That is mainly the problem. Or at least that's the way I see it. It's why I don't go as far as to be a vegan or a vegetarian or anything, because I do love the meats, but also with the complete opposite is not the complete opposite is not necessarily always the best idea either. Well, that's twice I've had to say take the middle ground. I also bought some Italian sausage. Nice bit of sausage, nice bit of beer, and I'm going to continue making fun of the Bible. Good days. It's a good day to be Monday. I hate Mondays. Yes, I am Garfield. I am fat, and I like lasagna. Um, so we're getting into the true Almighty God's uninspired word, totally inspired divine word, and His second creation. Now, this is another source. I believe this is a Yahwist source. I'm not going to talk about sources. I don't know them enough. Yeah, the hour source because the first one's the priestly element. I don't know. Anyway, and we're going to see that this creation story is very different. Whereas the first creation story is about spectacle and it's about denying Babylonian gods, the sun god, the fucking, the moon god and stuff like that. Like this one is more about, uh, you know, this one's more about like fucking. I'd rather be able to kill from it. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. It's like you can go out and fucking kill your own shit, and you kill a deer and it keeps you fed for fucking months, whatever. Like whatever. Yeah. You do your own farming. That's cool. It's factory farming, man. Factory farming's fucking horrific, and we could do without it. No one's given for all the turtles. You could have eaten Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo. You could have eaten any of them. Just, if you can hear that annoying noise, it's because I'm making an actually perfectly legal tobacco smoke. Because I have to be sober, so I'm smoking. So, this one is thought to be a little bit older. This one's thought to be written around because the original one is Babylonian exile. We're looking at like what was it, the 3rd, 4th century BC, something like that. This one's supposed to be maybe close to the time of when King David's supposed to be around. We're not 100% sure. Some of the language points out to be that way. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't choose my words. There is like ethical ways of doing it, but like I said, it's factory farming and shit like that. There's too many people. That's why lab grown meat's going to make all of it not matter. Right. So, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. By the way, usually if when you're reading the Bible and you see Lord with a capital L, it's actually saying Yahweh. Because it's supposed to stop you saying Yahweh because you're not supposed to say Yahweh, which leads to how Jehovah comes about. Because Lord, the vowel of Lord, like of Lord and thingy, Aramaic, Hebrew, put Adonai, Lord is Adonai, and those vowels are put into the tetragrammaton of Yahweh, and then put into like some kind of like German thing or something like that. And it came out Jehovah. Yeah. So fucking they made the name Jehovah from fucking from not understanding the word Yahweh and Adonai in like modern at the time Hebrew was. It's cool. Should watch Monty Python. Everybody should watch more Monty Python because Monty Python was fucking great. So, in that day that the Lord made the earth and the heavens, when no plant of the field was yet in the earth, and no vegetation in the field that yet sprung up, for the Lord had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no one to till the ground, but a stream would rise from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So, am I getting ready to put some contradictions up on the board? Yes, I fucking am, yo. So, we got contradiction 1. It says that, so part 2, this isn't, this has gone terribly. Right, I'm clicking on right, so I have too many tabs and I will get better at this. God made the earth and the heavens. So God first made the earth and the heavens. Survey says light. So that's contradiction 1. I suppose the earth is number 2. And then the land. But in this one, the earth makes water itself, not the Lord. So that's 2 contradictions right there. Bam. Yeah, so sorry. I was catching up with the chat. Don't turn fucking Discord back on. That's me. Right. Off with you, Discord. And then here we go. Oh my god. Right. There we go. So, and then God made man. So that's contradiction number 3. God was made after the water and the land and before the plants, if I remember such. Oh, I'm clicking. Yeah. So that needs to be number 3. I will figure out a way to do this more streamlined. Maybe it might be after things. Oh, wait. Fuck that up. Ha! 3. Oh my god. 3. Enter. There we go. That's all better. Man, I'll figure out a better way to do this. Yes. Discworld. Means Discworld. Right. So, and then God makes man next. So God makes man before he makes the animals, before he makes plants. So then God planted a garden in Eden in the east where he put a man who he had formed. So he makes plant life afterwards. And out of the ground, the Lord God made to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, and the tree of life that is also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So you can see that already it's so different. And some people will try and put these two things together. Who's actually just making the Garden of Eden after he's made it. No, these are two very distinct creation stories trying to say two very different things. This one is more directly saying that God did in fact make Yahweh did in fact make everything. Whereas chapter 1 is more of a religious the chapter 1 is more a religious polemic against Babylon. So now we're going to come to a description of where it is. And I made a lovely video from fucking, what's his face? Johnny Inspiring Philosophy about that. So that's cool. A river flows out of Eden to water the garden from where it divides and becomes 4 branches. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one that flows out of the whole land of Havilah, Ethiopia, and where there is gold. And that gold of the land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there as well. And from that video, if I remember correctly, actually, bdellium and onyx stone come from more like Yemen, or is it Oman? The side of the Arabian Peninsula that's closest to fucking, Africa. I think it's Yemen. Yes, it is Yemen. The second river is Gihon, and it is the one that flows around the whole land of Kush. Oh, sorry, Kush is Ethiopia. Havilah has Havilah has a few different places that it could be in the book, but yeah, making fun of uninspiring software. Yeah, it is. I need to do it more, to be honest. There is some things I want to go back and say about some of the stuff I've already done. To be honest, that's the annoying thing. You make a video and you go, "Oh, fuck! I found out something later. Fuck." I can do it now though. And then the third river is the Tigris, which flows east of Assyria, and the fourth is the river Euphrates. Now, the whole point of this is you're not supposed to find Eden, right? Because this doesn't make sense. Now, we don't know about the river Pishon, but the Gihon River is it's not a river at all, it's a small spring in Jerusalem itself. And it's like the Tigris, which flows east of Assyria. Was it Assyria? If I remember correctly. Yeah, so east and west. Whereas Assyria's on the other side. So it's like saying, hey, right? I'm going to tell you where the Garden of Eden is, okay? So the Garden of Eden, there's 4 rivers, right? One of them is the River Thames, right? which flows through the land of France. And one of them is this little stream in my nan's backyard, right? But it flows all the way through the Rocky Mountains. Do you know what it's, the whole point is that it's made up, right? And the people that would read this would know that it's made up, because you're not supposed to find it. You're not supposed to go look for it. That's the whole point. Now, there is a place where I actually have, like, literally today, found a place I think might be actually what the Garden of Eden is originally, because I've had thoughts about it's supposed to be the land of Edom, because like there's things of maybe the Jews like originally Hebrews originally coming from that kind of area, like the Moabite area and the Edom area and stuff like that. The Yeehaw River. I think that's an old show from the 70s. Yee? No, that's Hee Haw. I want to read some more of this before I actually, because I have a lot to say, so I have a lot to say about where this actually might be, but I'll get to that later. Don't worry, it won't be too long. So where am I reading next? And then the Lord took the man, and did I miss something about his breath? Nah, it doesn't matter. So the Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to till it and to keep it, because like almost all Mesopotamian myths, when humans are made, humans are always made to serve the gods. That river is south of the Holopar. So like all Mesopotamian epics, man was made to till the soil, and made of clay. So we have the story of is this the right one? Yeah. So we have the share this tab instead. So we have the story of Enki and Ninmah, right? So Enki and Ninmah, you know, they're higher up gods, and they get drunk, and they start to make things. They go, "Oh, you're gonna make people." They make them from clay, and they go, you know, was it? Enki and Ninmah drank beer. The hearts became elated, and then Ninmah said to Enki, "A man's body can be either good or bad, and whether I make fate good or bad depends on my will." Enki answered Ninmah, "I will counterbalance fate, good or bad, for whatever you happen to decide." Ninmah took clay from the top of the Absu in her hand, and she fashioned it. She fashioned from it first a man who could not bend his outstretched weak hands. Enki looked at the man who could not bend his outstretched weak hand, and decreed his fate. He appointed him as a servant to the king. And she, you know, the thing carries on, and they keep on making people. She makes fucked up people, and he tells them what, you know. Fourth, she fashioned one who could not hold back his urine, and Enki looked at the one who could not hold back his urine, and bathed him in enchanted water, and drove, you know, like. She makes something fucked up or something good. He pronounces their fates. Let's keep that one in mind. But there's other stories where, like, you know, or is it so like in the Atrahasis? Oh my god, I've forgotten his name again. Not Enki, Enlil. You know, they make people from clay, and he goes, "You're going to tilt the soil to do the things," and then people make too much noise, so he kills them with a flood. There's a lot of making people. The whole point is there's a lot of people making people with clay, doing that sort of thing, and you know, it's not taken from Assyrian myths at all. Not at all. I don't know why you would say such things. Why would you say such things? Before I get into the tree and stuff, I'm gonna go make my coffee. I'll be like less than a minute. I sometimes really think that the worst thing that ever happened to these people is that we learned to translate Sumerian and Akkadian and all this shit. trying to be quick, and I was an idiot. I tried to put my carton of milk in the sugar bowl because I'm dumb. Right, so. Oh, no. I should have closed that door. Sorry. Do. I mean, just imagine living your entire life, and you think that you have some of this earliest, these records are so old, and they tell all these stories, and then finding out actually that half of it were told 1,000 years before that by a completely different empire. I go, no, mine's still honestly the truest. Like, you get people like uninspiring sophistry say things like, I know that, there's Sumerian and Akkadian and Babylonian things that are there before the Bible, but they were just telling the Bible stories and didn't realize it. I mean, that's some balls right there. Right. And the garden. Has he named him yet? Did I ever got? No. Oh, share this tab instead. I'm a professional. And the Lord God commanded them, you may freely eat of the tree of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in that day you eat of it, you shall surely die. You shall die. Yeah. Well, spoiler alert. No. So, then the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone, so I shall make him a helper as his partner. Because he's trying to make a companion, and it doesn't mean necessarily sexual, companion. But, so out of the ground, the Lord God formed every animal of the field. I'll just put that up by one, because the order is very different. So let's just put this contradictions up by one again. Oh my God! Stop clicking on the things I don't want you to click on. Why? I don't know where the writing is. Where's my thing? Whatever. There we go. Bam. Jesus, I can make this easier somehow, and I will find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. My mouse is being funny. I was going to talk about Lilith, but I was going to talk about Lilith when he makes Eve properly. Lilith is fun. I'm just getting it right. There we go. My mouse is working. So, because also in Hebrew, the helper and it's a bit different than it's not assist. It's something else. I can't remember. So out of the ground, the Lord formed every animal of the field and every bird of the air. So that's actually another contradiction. Because the birds are created, the birds and the things are created afterwards. So there's no two contradictions, right? It's good to see that we've got 6 contradictions and we're only kind of into chapter 2. So out of the ground the Lord formed. Let's see. So they see what the man would see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name, because he has given man dominion over everything. And back in the day, naming meant you were giving purpose, right? So when you name the creatures, he is giving purpose to those creatures for what they do because of what they are. The man gives names to all the cattle and to the birds of the air and to the animals of the field, but for the man, there was not found a helper as his partner. So God, the omnipotent being, doesn't know that he has to make a female version of the male thing he's made. Because God wanted an all boys club to get naked in his little Garden of Eden so that all the boys could run around with the dicks out because they were naked. Because God only wants men around him. That's just the way I see it. Oh my god! Right, my mouse isn't working on this surface very well. So, come on. And the man gets naked. Then, so the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. So that he then took one of his ribs and closed its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into the woman and brought her to the man. And the man then said, "This is the last of my bones, and the flesh of my flesh. This one shall become woman, for out of the man one is taken." Therefore a man leaves his father and his mother, clings to his wife, and they become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. So, we'll get on to Lilith now, because he's created Eve. And, we've always got the lovely thing of Adam. He's Adam, Adam is a pun. Adam made from Adama, earth made from earthling, human made from humus. It's like a loamy soil sort of thing. Like, the translation doesn't work specifically from Hebrew to English very well, but that's kind of what he is. Adam is the original Gollum. Gollum. It's the Gollum, not the precious. The big stone man with the words in its mouth, the words in its head. Sorry, because somebody needed protectors, so God made the earth and men, and that is what Adam is. Because God doesn't make humanity; He makes a golem. But you're not supposed to think about that properly because it's the first man, right? So then he makes Eve, and you get to the medieval times, right? People in the medieval times like, hey, so we've got one story of creation of Eve, and it's actually I got to put in a different contradiction, don't I? I do, because the creation of Eve is different. In fact, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put two contradictions there, because the way she's made is different, and why she is made is different, and in fact, when she is made is different. So in fact, that is 9 contradictions. Because man and woman are made at the same time in chapter 1. They are not made at the same time. She is made from a clot of blood, the breathing of life into the soil, blah, blah, blah. Like in chapter 1, it's all different. So, to try and, so Christians are of mud peoples, would there would be a no, it's more mud. It's mud all the way down, folks. So, in the medieval times, as they were wont to do when they found something that was wrong in the Bible, it all makes sense now in arguments why they always try and muddy the waters of discourse. Bam! I think you've won comment of the night there. That's a winner right there. Of course, yeah, totally. Mulched cow poop. Wow. Do you know what, John? I love your sophistication. It's top tier. Dancing ladies, mulched cow poop. Tap dancing ladies, mulched cow poop. I like your style, sir. So medieval people, because they made the assumption of Mary and all sorts of weird shit. So then they made up Lilith. Were like, okay, so the first woman isn't Eve. Don't worry, God made a mistake. I know the omnipotent God that knows everything. He made a mistake. And then there was this feminist bitch who decided that, in fact, she didn't want to be submissive to Adam. So then she fucked off, right? And then, I don't know, what is it? They decided that, she became like the mother of demons or something. Or the mother of she's a succubus. Or the mother of succubuses, and she jacks little boys off in the night, giving them nocturnal emissions. marking them for the sexual demons or whatever. Uh, some fantastic stuff. As I'm reading through the Bible, I do want to stop occasionally and read some of this shit. So, you know, maybe not next time, but maybe like I am gonna start. There will be like I'm gonna pull out some shit from like fucking. I might like. I think after Genesis, I might go back and do like all the apocrypha and stuff that's involved with it. So there's like an apocalypse of Abraham. There's an apocalypse of Adam and Eve or something like that. There's a couple of them. Um, there's a story of Lilith. There's all these little different versions from around that. You know what I mean? I might not read through them all properly, but yeah, I wouldn't mind going through them at some point. So let me know in one's comments if that would be interesting to you all. Going through some of the like non-biblical stories that people totally act like that are real. And my favorite one for that are all the different gospels that came out about Jesus's apostles, and they're all Gnostic as fuck. And they're like, yeah, but it says that they died for Jesus, so we like that bit, right? So let's take a short summary. God's made the world and its universe twice. So in fact, what this of course means, because the true and unerring word of God means that he did in fact create two universes. So then we know from, old sci-fis and stuff that there's the negaverse, bizarro world, right? And then there's our world, in the negaverse, bizarro world, or whatever. That's where they wear the mustaches. Everyone has the evil mustache, and they're all the evil versions of us, and they live on the underneath. um... So that's cool. And I love how like God has to like to prove that woman isn't his man. She has to make woman from man. He can't do it the same way he did before or anything like that. It has to be different. And he was pissed off. He was like that one guy. He was like that one guy friend. I bet it happens with women friends. They get with someone and then all of a sudden that's their whole world. And, all the friends don't matter anymore. And God felt left out. And he's like, oh, I know it. He's going to make this bitch Eve. And then fucking, bam, I'm fucked. I'm the third wheel. These two fuckers prancing around naked with her jiggling everywhere. I'm fucked. God was unhappy. And we've seen two nice chapters, and to be fair, that's the two nice chapters of the entire Bible. The rest is just it's all downhill from here. Right. So let's go to Genesis 3. They said you were too young to fall in love with Lilith. No. There we go. So I'm gonna read through all of book 3, and then I'm gonna talk. I'll talk about stuff that happened to them, and I'm gonna talk about some other things afterwards, like where it comes from, the things it's copied from, because there's a lot of interesting shit there, and I also think it unintentionally shows where the Garden of Eden might have actually supposed to have been, and it's not a garden, and it's not the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The first sin and its punishment. Sorry, I was supposed to slip that. That didn't work very well. Now the serpent was more crafty than any other wild animal the Lord God has made, because he could talk. He said to the woman, did God say, you shall not eat from any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, wait, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the fruit of the trees in the garden, but God said, you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the middle of the garden, nor shall you touch it, or you shall die. So Eve, who was not there, right, when God said this to Adam, is making up stuff, because either Adam made up stuff, whatever, but we don't know. And the point is she makes up things, and you get some theologians that say, oh look, Eve's, that's where sin comes from. People reinterpret God. Really, the thing you got to think about is these people aren't very old. I'm like, what? Fucking, these people didn't know the knowledge of good and evil. So if they didn't know what good and bad was. But the serpent said to the woman, you will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, Your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So, like, I know it's a serpent, but it's the lizard. So, what's wrong with what he says? Because she was wrong, the serpent corrects her, so she eats from the tree because she has the brain of a child and a very small baby child because she was just created from a rib. I'll be generous and say last week. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was a delight to the eyes and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. So, you always love it when you get this thing of like Christians and Jews or whatever, and they say, fucking Eve went, yeah, dickhead, I've got these boobies here, look at them jiggling. Hey, do you want to eat this fruit? And Adam goes, God says no. And then she goes, oh, but look at my lovely doubly dubs here, they go jiggly jiggly. And then, he gives him a quick suckle, he has a lick, he has the taste, and he goes, that is in fact a fruit I'll eat. That is in fact not what happens. So this line is so interesting. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, right? Because God doesn't mean that you won't die. And she doesn't know the difference between good or evil, right? So she goes, oh, it's not poisonous, basically. Oh, sweet, so I can eat it. She doesn't see the danger of what God told her not to do because she doesn't understand it. Because she desired to be wise. Yeah, all right, dude. Word up, yo. Thanks for joining. And it's good seeing some newer faces in the chat. You're only in for a little bit, but how you doing? Fucking mouse, man. And it didn't. I've never noticed this before, right? But like, it even says that she didn't know what the fuck she was doing. It was a delight to the eyes, right? And that the tree was desired to make one wise because she was not wise. She didn't know. She wanted to be wise. She wanted to be smart and to not be dumb. But hey, that's a bad thing, right? And it's not just a bad thing that the woman wanted to be wise. It's a bad thing for anyone to be wise because you wouldn't want to just till a garden, would you? And then she also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and he ate. So this entire conversation was watched by Adam, who did not say anything, and who also ate and was not, in fact, seduced with her lovely, womanly, perfect womanly form because she is the first woman, whatever Christian, Jewish bullshit you want to say. Do you see what I mean? So the fact that she wanted to be wise, that's bad. Eve was framed. She wasn't framed. They were both framed by God, but that's because God wasn't smart enough to know that making people that didn't know the difference between good and bad would mean that they didn't know that it was bad to oppose him, because he is the most smartest person and omnipotent and knows the outcome of everything, right? This is what I love about Christians, like saying that they believe in God and they believe in Jesus and all this stuff, right? The only one that did anything wrong is God. Yes, 100%. But that's the point. You're supposed to actually kind of look at it and go, "Oh wait, that God's kind of a trickster God, and he's always kind of trying to fuck us, right?" Because the world is hard, and it's the same with like, "Oh, this guy." It's like these people were just putting down what they saw and experienced in their own interpretation. So it's like, oh, we separated the waters from the waters. Even like going back to the Babylonians, the Numen Elish, blah, 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 right? Because the sky is blue and the sea is blue. And the sky has white clouds and the sea, can look like it has white clouds sometimes, with the whiteness of the caps. But the point is they were looking at what they saw, not knowing better, and saying, aha, because they were using simple intuitive thinking for hard non-intuitive questions they couldn't possibly know. Praise Marduk indeed. I shall talk more about the Enuma Elish very soon at the end of this chapter, actually. I talked about Marduk a bit before in the first bit of creation, actually. Do you know my English isn't Marduk, it's Enki. I don't know. Oh, is it? I get the names mixed up. I need to get better with this. Maybe it's the Norse divine. Then the eyes of both were opened, and they knew they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made loincloths for themselves. I love this bit, right? Because it's dark comedy. That's the thing I love about this bit. It's super dark comedy, right? So where's this thing I meant to put up? I'll put this back on this one. It'll be easier for this. So just for anyone who's never actually like looked at a fig leaf. Oh come on! I just want to show a picture. Upload new. I thought I uploaded this already. I did not. Oh yeah, I was supposed to do it a different way. How stupid of me. So I have it on here. So for those that haven't seen a fig leaf, no, come on now. There we go. Share this tab instead. See, look at it. Oh, what? No. Yeah, look at it. No, stop it. I just want to see this picture. Oh my God, it's like being a twat. Look at that. And tell me that doesn't look like a dick and balls. It's such a bad leaf for this because it's mimicking what it's supposed to be covering. Because covering the woman doesn't matter. She doesn't matter, right? I mean, if you want to, John, I'll play some music for you. Does that do anything for you? No? All right. So it's like dark comedy. Do you know what I mean? It's covering yourself up with the most insufficient thing possible when you're surrounded by all the things you possibly can. I love that shit. They heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden at the time of the evening breeze, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord among the trees in the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, and said to him, "Where are you?" He said, I heard the sound of you in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. And God said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" You know, like he's speaking to a 4-year-old because he's technically speaking to toddlers. And the man said, "The woman who you gave me, I didn't want her. You gave her me. I didn't want her. She gave me from the fruit and I ate it. I didn't ask any questions." And the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" And the woman said, "The serpent tricked me, and I ate, by telling the truth." The Lord God doesn't even ask anything of the serpent. He goes, "Because you have done this. Cursed are you among the animals and among all the wild creatures. Upon your belly you should go, and the dust you shall eat all the days of your life." Because the snakes and lizards eat dust. A lot of people like to say it's Satan. It's not. It's just a talking lizard. Yes. Have you done? Yes. Have you done this? Have you done this thing? The all-knowing magic dude asked, not knowing. I kind of disagree with that. Actually, it's a funny sentiment, but also, I have heard it said that actually God here is like he's treating them like children. Did you make this mess? And I find it a reasonable enough explanation. Yeah, well, yeah. To be honest, Yahweh in the early books is not omnipotent and doesn't know things, but I don't mind that explanation. But there is a lot of God not knowing stuff. There's also a lot of Christians that try and pretend this isn't God, because God is like he doesn't have a body and he's this unencumbered mind outside the universe and doesn't blah 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 blah. So there's a lot of Christians that say this is Jesus. This is the first account of Jesus, especially because a lot of the earlier books of the Bible, Yahweh is quite a young, virile man, and then he's the old guy in the clouds later on. It's the end cracking it. Well, it's bad because that people wear it now, and even at the time of writing. So you need a reason for it. So this is why you go. Oh, it has nothing to do with the shame of your own body, right? And not how that's why nudists don't give a shit because they have no shame in the body. They don't care. It's just trying to tap into the feelings and emotions that people have and go, look, God made it happen, and that's why the feeling that you have is so strong. So anyone that doesn't do that, having kids ages you. Hey, do you know what? I can agree. I'm nearly 40, and people still mistake me for being in my early to mid 20s. I'm not even joking. So I get it because I decided very early to not have kids because I'm selfish. Okay, I get to be selfish in this way. Everybody else gets to be selfish in other ways. I get to be selfish by going, I don't want fucking kids. Oh yeah, it's the other way is selfish. Never mind. I know too many people that have had kids for stupid reasons. It's Britain, man. It's Britain. I'm not going down that hole. Although many people did. Hey, uh, lads. Um, and I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel. To the woman, he said, I will make your pangs in childbirth exceedingly great. In pain you shall bring forth children, yet your desire for your husband shall rule over you. Interesting translation. I've also seen this translated as you will have to work and bear children you have to do both things sort of thing. So the Hebrew can be a bit more ambiguous on that one. Sure sounds like an all loving big. Hey, it's like a father disciplining their child. You say, hey, don't put your hand in the cookie jar and don't have the sweet. And then when the kid puts his hand in the cookie jar and he has the sweet, you damn them forever and you kick them out of paradise. I mean, that's what my mother did. I mean, it wasn't paradise. So I suppose, on the whole, it was a good thing. Yes, I am indeed forever young. I will always be a young boy. I will always be the youngest of boys. And don't let my slight balding and appearance of wrinkles fool you. I will forever be about 15. Well, Adam, I don't know if you missed it, right? Zach is the youth of 100 summers. Well, 1,000 summers. Well, thank you very much, John. That's a beautiful thing you said right there. You've warmed the cockles of my heart. when you're on, see the thing is, right? So I don't know if he had to partner with a lot of animals. You had to find the right fit. So there's some maybe that's really what the flood was about. Maybe the flood wasn't about Nephilim and angels fucking angels. Maybe the Nephilim really were all the animal offspring. You know how there's like furries nowadays and stuff like and bronies and stuff like that. They're the descendants of these people that were made by Adam as he copulated with just all the animals. uh, it's good when you figure out things in life. And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. You don't get to pick fruit from trees anymore. And you shall eat the plants of the fields, because the plants of the trees are not good enough for you anymore. You ate from one tree, and by Jove, was one tree one too many. One Tree Hill. There you go. There's my joke of the day. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't know what anything means anymore. I don't understand. I'm sorry, I need help. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for you were taken out of it. You are dust, and to dust you shall remain. So, any time an anti-evolutionist one of those anti-evolution, not evolutionist, one of those anti-evolution pieces of shit goes, I'd like you to show me non-matter coming. This right here says that we are made from dust, sir, madam, in between. The right-wing Christians, there is no in between. Oh no, there is, because it's that, yeah, but you know what I mean. And then the man named his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all living. So, God, like, Adam was naming all the creatures and giving them purpose, right? But then he didn't name Eve, because he wasn't supposed to give Eve purpose to begin with. She was a partner with him. But then, after all this, well, you can't partner with her anymore. So now, Adam gets to give her her purpose. She is the mother of all living. And the Lord God made garments of skin for them. Not hemp. I know, right? What I love here is, so God goes, you can't eat the animals, okay? You can't eat the animals. You can eat from the trees. Okay, you can't eat from the trees, you can eat from the ground. And now you can't eat the animals, but you can slaughter them and steal their skins. So technically God says that actually leather is better than eating them. And the Lord God said, see, the humans have become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now knowing here can also mean experiencing. So, and now they might reach out their hands and also take from the tree of life and live forever. Therefore, so who's God speaking to, though? Is he speaking to himself? It's not that council of gods. It's not that us that he was talking about before. And why is God worried? He knows what they're going to do. He knows everything, right? He knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. So he should know, shouldn't he? You know, they might live forever. Because the whole point is, if you eat both of them, you're going to gain divine providence. You are going to become a god. Because being a god wasn't actually that special at the time. You could be born with it. People were gods. And not like, I'm Zeus. Like, they had a spark of the divine in them. And because they had a spark of the divine in them, they were more from the holy realm. Therefore, God, the Lord God sent them forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken. He drove out the humans, and east of the Garden of Eden, he placed the cherubim and a flaming sword, and turning the guard. A flaming sword and cherubim, not the little babies. They were horrific angel creatures. Like, come on. So now, I want to talk a little here about a story. About Brady is the father of three very lovely boys. Enki and Ninhursag. So there's a story I want to talk about here called Enki and Ninhursag, right? With Enki and Ninhursag, we see lots of clear references to the Garden of Eden. So, pure are the cities, you are the ones they are allotted. Pure is the Dilmund land. And this is where, after creation, all the gods are supposed to live. But Dilmund land is a real place on Earth. So the Dilmund land was actually an empire. Not an empire. Like a kingdom sort of thing, around the 3rd or 4th century BCE, in around where United Emirates is, or like Bahrain. I think it's Bahrain. And there's like a little stretch of land, like an island off it, in the middle of the the Gulf of Arabia, right? And this is what they're talking about. And the place of Dilmund is actually mentioned in loads of places. It's interesting shit. So let me get my notes up. So in the Newman Ailish, it's where the gods related after the creation of the Garden of Eden. It's also in the Atrahasis, it's where Nipishnim comes to the mountain after the flood. Um, so in this story, right, Enki is going around and he's fucking in her sag on like she's had kids and then like he keeps on fucking around in this like marsh and putting his dick in places and these gods get like these goddesses go, "Ooh, what's that?" And then he fucks them and they have kids. And then eventually she makes like he fucks oh, what's the name? Oh, it's so long the story. Sorry. Utu. And then she gets angry, and because Enki keeps on like going, you know, these goddesses are great. He fucks them, and then he never comes back. And then Hersek gets very angry, so she takes the semen from inside Utu's fucking womb and then puts it in the ground. And she makes like these trees and plants, and then he eats from them, and he gets like bad teeth, and he gets tumors and all this stuff. And then she makes and then Hersek makes various gods. Uh, to like take them out. And when it comes to the rib, my throat hurts me. She gave birth to Nazi out of it. What hurts you? My arm. She gave birth to Azuma out of it. My brother. What part hurts you? My ribs hurt me. She gave birth to Ninti, and she gets rid of it. And Ninti means what's it called? Where's my notes? Fuck. Was it? Eve is the mother of all living, and Ninti means all lady who makes live. But you know, hey, they're not. It's not like the Garden of Eden in any way. And the fun thing is, right, is there is another one. I've not got any. I've not got any things for this one. But also, when it comes to gardens and you know mischievous like godlike figures or people getting into the garden and like fucking eating shit they shouldn't do, is also part of the Chinese creation epic, the Monkey King, where the Monkey King, you know, it's basically Dragon Ball. It's fun. You know, Journey to the West is actually what it's called, I think. You get the Monkey King, and like he goes up to the sacred garden of the gods, and he eats, and he gets tumors, and they get removed, and they put him under a mountain, and you know, there's that. So that's interesting. So, shall we get on to the fall? Let's get on to the fall of man. Oh, I've already done that one. Now the man knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have produced a man with the help of the Lord. Next she bore his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain was a tiller of the ground. I don't need no stinking nuts. Well, I certainly do. In the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of fruit from the ground, and Abel, for his part, brought the firstlings of his flock, their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. The Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry? Why is your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, is sin lurking at the door? Its desire is for you, but you must master it. Funny how, see, so Cain does what was supposed to be done in the garden. He is a tiller of the soil, like Adam was made for. Weird, isn't it? How it's like God gets angry that, are you doing the thing that I made you to do? Oh, you know what I mean? You can't do that. Pippin, stop licking. I'm like, why are you angry? Why are you angry that you've offered me things and I've turned you down? I like how it tries to insinuate that, you know, it's because it was the first and the fat and everything. It doesn't really say why he likes one over the other. And I kind of think it's because he brought him the things that Adam was supposed to do. That's not good. Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let us go out to the field." And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" He said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And the Lord said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood is crying out from the ground, and now you are cursed from the ground. I mean, they were already cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it will no longer yield to you its strength, and you will be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth." Like, yeah, because Yahweh doesn't yet. All right, yeah, he doesn't know. Oh, I've clicked off the thing. No, not Discord. Oh. Um. uh, my punishment is, my Lord. The punishment is greater than I can bear. Today you have driven me away from the soil, and I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and wanderer of the earth, and anyone who meets me may kill me. But it's only them. I thought it was Adam or Eve. And they had 2 kids. Where are the other people? But hey, you're not supposed to look at this like a story, right? It's on, you're not supposed to look at this like this is all one continuous story of one family that turns into a people. This is all just figurative. It's all figurative and none of it happened, right? This is why I love to ask Christians nowadays. So, what's the first bit of the Bible you actually think happened? Because, like, all this stuff leads into each other, but the stuff that they don't like, they ignore. And the Lord said to him, "Not so. Whoever kills Cain will suffer a sevenfold vengeance." Like, why? Like, I'm punishing you, but if they get angry, that's a step too far. And then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Like, well, see, the thing is, right, is early Jews had a problem with this as well. So they made, I think it's the Apocalypse of Adam and Eve. I might be wrong on the name. Where like Adam and Eve have like 90 kids, and then Cain and Abel story happens, and those kids go off and do stuff. Like, oh, that story's mental. So like, so it's about like Adam and Eve come out of the Garden of Eden, and Adam's like, "Fuck you, bitch! You fucking got me kicked out of paradise. You're a cunt. Fuck you." And then like, they come back after like I think it's 90 years or something. They have loads of kids. Adam was an alien. Well, no, he is made from the soil, sir. He is a golem. I get that it says that there's other people, but like the thing is when you're saying that you've created everything, well then the first people are the first people, and then I think it's because I think to be honest, I think some of it kind of thought, oh, people just sprang up like the rest of the animals, and these ones are the only special ones. I don't know. What's next? Because like, yeah, what's the land of Nod supposed to be? Land of Nod. It's the land of. I don't know. I don't. What? Because like what? I don't think anybody knows. I looked for 5 seconds. Is that not enough? Cain knew his wife, and she. Eden is Egypt. Nod is Babylon. Do you reckon? Because Eden is definitely not Egypt. I'll die on that hill. I think a lot of people would die on that hill. Eden is no way Egypt, and Nod is not Babylon. So because it actually says that Jubal. So there's a bit. One of them. So Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he built a city and named it Enoch and named it after his son Enoch. I'm pretty sure that is supposed to be in reference to not Babylon. Fuck. Because it's trying to say, I know some of these names are trying to say that they made Babylon and and stuff like that. Was it Lamech? Oh my god. But Eden is definitely not Egypt. It cannot be. Because Egypt, well, not. Egypt is like more about the Exodus than the Hyksos and stuff like that. Like if I tend to think, I've started to think that actually it's Dilimland, because this Dilimland that's talked about in as like a holy place in Mesopotamian and Assyrian and Sumerian stuff, Babylonian and Assyrian stuff, has more in lines with like Mount Ararat and Eden itself, because of and they took a lot of their shit from there. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually what it's talking about. When it's talking about Egypt, it says Egypt very specifically. And he built the city and named it Enoch after his. Oh, what that fucking. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad was the father of Mahulael, and the father of Methuselah, and Methuselah was the father of Lamech. And Lamech took two wives, one was Adah, and the other was Zillah, like Godzilla. And Adah bore Jubal, whose ancestor lived in the tents and had livestock. And his brother name was Jubal. He was the ancient ancestor of all those who played the lyre of the pipe. Zillah bore Tubal-Cain, who made all kinds of bronze. Nama, yeah. Lamech said to his Adal and Zillah, hear my voice, you wives of Lamech. Listen to what I say. I have killed a man for wounding me, if a young man for striking me. If Cain is avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech is seven. I mean, that just feels like it comes from something else, frankly. I know some of this is totally talking about Mesopotamia, but Adam knew his wife again, and she bore him a son named Seth. And she said, God has appointed me another child instead of Abel, because Cain killed him. To Seth was also born a son, and he named him Enosh. And at the time, and at that time, people began to invoke the name of the Lord. Enosh. I know that they've all been talking to the Lord and interacting with the Lord through that, but that is when they started to actually interact with the Lord. Irad, is that good? Oh, spelled that wrong. I'm trying to remember which one's which. So, Irad is actually a place in meant thought to be part of Sumer. So is it Lamech then? Enoch. Because it's not the Enoch from the Book of Enoch. That's a different Enoch. Oh, so it's saying that it's reckoned that, yeah, Eridu. The city mentioned in Genesis. Irad, Eridu. Ah, yes, right, that's it. Yeah, we're gonna start getting into places where, like, look at all these places that were supposed to be around, made by people, so we can laugh at them for different reasons, and not that. No, they descended from Seth. Those are different ones. Those are the ones that go off and make Mesopotamia, but not the ones that make the Canaanites, because they change. Don't worry, we'll get to that. It's the fun about Genesis being this cobbled together piece of shit I am trying to maintain. So, Genesis 5. This is the oh my god, it's a list of descendants. So many descendants. So this is the list of descendants of Adam. When God made and created humans, he made them in the likeness of God, male and female. He created them, and he blessed them and called them humans when they were created. When Adam lived 130 years, he became the father of it. I'm getting near to being able to. He became the father of a son in his likeness, according to his image, and named him Seth. The days after he became the father of Seth, were 800, and he had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Then Seth became the father when Seth had lived for 105. What is it with all these people living so long before they have kids? Became 105 years. He became the father of Enosh. Seth lived after the birth of Enosh 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenan, like from Kenan and Kel. Ah, here it goes, and all that. Hello, I fucked up. I clicked off the thing by accident because I'm good at the internet. So hopefully it's all working again, and I have to put that back up. Share screen. And that looks like it's all back. So cool. Yeah. So I was talking about Kenan and Kel. Do you know I loved Kenan and Kel when I was a child? And when Enosh lived after the birth of Kenan 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. And Kenan lived after the births of Mahalalel 840 years, and had other sons and daughters, and thus the days of Kenan were 910, and he died. I was briefly raptured indeed. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared, from Subway and Kitty Fiddling fame. 830 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days when Jared had lived 162 years, he became the father of Enoch. Not the same Enoch of before, just like it wasn't the same Enosh as before. This is the Enoch. Damn it. This is the Enoch from the Book of Enoch, which I do very much plan to read as well, because there is some interesting shit in the Book of Enoch. And thus all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after the Book of Methuselah 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more, because God took him. Because Enoch was so fucking great, God loved him, and he went up to heaven and lived with him forever till this day. Because, he didn't have to go to Sheol like everyone else. And I'd love to go through the Book of Enoch at some point. Because there is some interesting shit in there. Part of the problem with the Book of Enoch is some of the Book of Enoch, the only things we have from it is from the Ethiopian Church of Christianity. So, kidnapping, trafficking, yeah. Good thing the commandments they went different. Yeah, you wouldn't want God to tell you could do things, especially when you could do some of those. And then when Methuselah lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. Methuselah lived after the birth of Lamech 782 years, and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Methuselah were 969. Nice. Years, and he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he became the father of a son. He named him Noah, saying, out of the ground that the Lord has cursed, this one shall bring us relief from our work and the toil of our lands. Yes, he will. He will certainly relieve you of the work by dying. You will die with drowning. And Lamech lived after the birth of Noah 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, the days of Lamech were 777 years, and then he died. And then, after Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And I think that is where I shall stop reading for today. Because we're getting on to Noah. And that's fun, right? Noah's fun. And do you notice how it's given out those names and ages, though? It's a lot of old names and ages, isn't it? Actually, I'll go back onto this. Because there is one last thing I would like to show before I close off fully. Where are we? Sumerian king list. So we have the Sumerian king list. I just want to read it. Can I read it? Right. So show this tab instead. So after the kingship descended from him, after the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridu. It's Eridu. Alon became king. He ruled for 28,800 years. Alajah ruled for 36,000 years. Two kings, they ruled for 64,800 years. And it goes on, bunch of years, they ruled for 43,200 years, 28,800 years, 36,000 years, 108,000, the three kings, 108,000 years, Then they start coming down a little bit, 28,000, 1860, 1860. And then after the flood, the kingship had descended from heaven and was in Kish. Jakur ruled, and he ruled for 1,200 years. And then 960. And then it comes down and it keeps on coming down. Maked ruled for 8, and we start getting to more realistic ages, which is like what happens in the Bible. We start talking about these people living for hundreds and hundreds of years, and then the flood happens, and then people are living normal age lives, kind of. And not at all is any of this taken, of course, from, Mesopotamian, Sumerian texts or anything like that. So that's cool. Don't know. Any false facts that I missed? Because I'm not really counting creation. It's false facts and stuff like that because they're not really trying to say that. And I think it's to Christianity and Judaism's discredit that its creation stories aren't really meant to be taken literally. So I'm not counting them as false facts. I do count them as contradictions, though, because it shows that there's no internal consistency in the story. And I have not found any true facts. So that's cool. If there's any, let me know, and I shall update my list. So that's fun. I hope you all enjoyed it. I shall hopefully see you all tomorrow, where me and Jimmy Tux will be reading through Braxton Hunter's Core Facts books. And we're not on the cosmological argument anymore. We're on O for the ornithological argument. Birds exist, therefore God. And I'm really looking forward to this one because I have never heard the ornithological argument before. And I'd like new arguments. I'd like new things, and it's good to see that someone like Braxton Hunter can really make new arguments. This Friday, I don't know which channel it's going to be on. It might either be on mine and Joe's. Me and Joe are going to watch through some charming Christian stuff. Bible bees. I think it's going to be Bible bees. Ornithological birds. I can't. Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah, not Brett Keane. Ornithological. I got to tell you about the ornithological argument. Does anybody remember Brett Keane? I'm old. No video Wednesday. I'm definitely going to get it out next Wednesday. I want to start doing some more comedy skits. I want to start doing some. Not everything to be a reaction video. So that's cool. The universe started as an egg, and then it hatched, and that was the Big Bang. The albumin went everywhere, causing. I could go anyway. Oh Jesus! Right. So that's all fun. I think that is where I shall all say. I shall all bid you adieu, and I shall say hopefully all of you tomorrow like, subscribe, leave a comment on the video. Don't just say nice things in the chat. When the videos, don't just leave a nice little comment. Feed the algorithm. Feed the only algorithm tasty comments. And hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow. 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 Uh, uh, oh yeah.